everybody. Welcome to the Thursday show here on the Frontline Gaming Network. My name is Paul Murphy, your host. I'm joined by Dustin Henshaw.
Hello, everybody. And Adam Camilleri.
That was amazing.
That was amazing timing.
That was fantastic. Like, I hope he's planned that. I hope he's got like a big red button where he's just like, intro, bang, and I'm out.
Mic drop. Hey, you don't even need me anymore. I did my job.
Welcome to the Thursday show. It's going to be a good show. I'm really sick. I don't know if you can tell. I'm trying to embody the oomph that I hope that you feel for your 40K this weekend. But what are we going to be covering, Dusty?
We are going to be starting off with the Coventry GT. Then we're going to be going all the way to Sweden for the TTT, which is what the talk team tournament.
Whatever you want it to be. Pretty much that's what I asked him. I asked him what does the TTT stand for, and pretty much this is like the Adepticon team tournament. It's like a funky format, 1,500 point, but very big and venerable Swedish event. And the T stands for TOK Team Tournament, like TOK, and no one knows what that stands.
Basically, the abbreviation has an abbreviation in it.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
And the event has been going for so long, no one knows what TOK stands for anymore, but they assume it stands for Tokig or something, which is crazy in Swedish. So the crazy team tournament.
I love it. And then we're also going to be going to the Death and Glory team tournament in Ohio. So we actually got 2 team tournaments to cover, which is awesome. I love that. But we got to start it off with the Coventry GT, which is a big one in England.
Starting off with where in the world is Wargamer Joe? The lovely Wargames Live Joe is off and over to Westminster, Maryland for Flames of War Major, which is a 56-player 5-rounder at the Tables and Towers wonderful gaming venue there. Should be a good one, so go and catch that over on Wargames Live over on YouTube. And please support Joe, as we all should do. He's doing it for all of us, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great quality, so you see some great games on there, great quality. Make sure you support that, and then come see him next week, because we want to see where he's going to be next week too.
Where in the world is he going to be? Who knows? It's a mystery.
Where in the world is?
We do still need that.
Yeah, as long as it's not copyrighted or anything, we want to make sure we can actually do that, or we'll make our own. That's fine too. So starting off with the Coventry GT.
Yeah, shout out to people in chat first. Bolter Throwing, Kelsey T.O., Artemis Steve. Thank you so much, guys. Big Pap SC. Big Papa SC. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. You guys are going to be carrying this show for us in lieu of the wonderful Paul, who is the glue that sticks our great show together. But take us away with that Coventry GT, mate. Of note, first though, before we jump in, there is 2 Coventry events. In the UK, they're so freaking buck wild. They've got a 3-dayer with 150 odd players, and they've got a 2-dayer running concurrently with 100 players. And we have merged those stats into one beautiful rundown for you. Some quick and dirties, as we say. Dustin, take it away.
Perfect. So it is 154 98 player. What is that 98? Oh, right. Slash 98. Perfect. Yeah. I got you now. Then the 8 and 5 rounds respectively. So the quick and dirty stats for these events combined. Imperial, there is 10 Sisters of Battle, 11 Custodes, 1 Admech, 8 Astra Militarum, 3 Grey Knights, and 13 Imperial Knights. Space Marines are 6 Dark Angels, 2 Space Wolves, 12 Blood Angels, 3 Ultramarines, 1 Salamander, 1 Black Templar, 1 Raven Guard, 1 Imperial Fist, 2 Iron Hands. Chaos, there's 8,000 Suns, 8 Death Guard, 20 Demons, and 9 Renegade Knights. Heretic Astartes, there is 5 Black Legion, 12 Emperor's Children, 2 Iron Warriors, 1 Night Lord, 1 Red Corsairs, 2 World Eaters, and 6 Creations of Bile. Xenos, there's 18 Necrons, 12 Orcs, and 14 Tau, and a single Votan. Hive Mind, there's 13 Tyranids and 6 G-Sealer Call. They're really coming up with the numbers now. I like this. Eldari, there's 1 Eldari, 7 Drukhari, 14 Harlequin, 16 Asuriani, and 3 Inari, meaning the faction podium is Chaos Space Marines topping it off at 29. Chaos Demons in second with 20, and then Necrons in third with 18. What do you think of that spread?
Did we give it Joe watch?
We did give it Joe watch. And the wonderful Paul Murphy's back. Paul, what do you think of that spread?
Well, I love it. I mean, Chaos Space Marines, again, been on record 100 times saying that when the bad guys in the game are good, then the game just feels better, and there's so much depth in that codex in general, so it's really starting to crack it open and see what's up. A lot of Creations of Bile, a lot of Emperor's Children, but there's more to it.
Exactly right. I'd love to point out the beautiful Mirror, that is the the Adeptus Astartes and the Heretic Astartes, 29 players for each of those super factions. And even in what is being taken is closely mirrored. 12 Blood Angels, 12 Emperor's Children, 6 Creations of Bile, 6 Dark Angels. There really is a dark reflection between those two going on. One of them being an absolute haymaker, pound for pound, one of the best in the field, and the other one really struggling at the moment. But I just thought it's a really cool thing to draw people's attention to.
Mm-hmm.
Blood Angels.
A lot of Blood Angels.
Blood Angels taking it down this past weekend, and really let's talk about, again, about the meta.
The meta?
Yes, Paul?
Talk about the meta? Yes, Paul? Yeah. We're waiting with bated breath.
we should just nod along.
Just nod, yeah.
Okay. Some great points. I'm imagining that he's still talking.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, his voice is still in my head talking about the meta right now. Like, I'm fully engrossed in this conversation. I don't know if you guys are able to.
What do you make of demons spiking up to hit a podium there?
That's actually kind of crazy to me, seeing the demons get that high up, because they haven't had any massive podiums as of late, right? So they're not like.
They won a GT last week, and they've been one of the more represented 5-1, factions in the game at the moment. Definitely one of the stronger factions out there. I mean, it's all off the back of Flamers. Let's not jump around,
absolutely,
joke around. As soon as Tyrion and Warriors got nerfed, like Flamers, I believe, became the best non-character model in the game, essentially.
Yeah, that's not far off. I mean, a lot of people look some of the 1K Suns with the demons in there. Maybe some of the mixes they saw, and they're sort of making their mix list with Chaos Space Marines, and they're like, "This is actually better as a demon list." So
yeah,
I felt like, because I actually did that a couple of times too when I was making a mix. I was like, "This is good," but I think I'd like another Bloodthirster. I'd like this and that from demons. I should just make a demons list.
Exactly right. The 3-dayer for Coventry is an absolute freaking Shark Tank. There is 9 of the top 10 in the UK attending the Coventry GT. There's only two players in the top 10 in the UK who aren't, and most of those guys in the top 10 in the UK are in the top 10 in the freaking world as well. In addition, we have our good mate Anthony Vanella making the trip over the pond. He's the dark reflection of what Manny did last week going to Kansas. Manny came over from the UK, got a podium in the US. Anthony, I'm setting you up for it, mate. You got to get it back. Got to get back. Minimum a podium. Minimum a podium for Anthony Vanilla, guys. He's playing Emperor's Children, but it's pretty similar to a lot of the Emperor's Children lists we've been seeing later, so I didn't add it to the list we're going to be breaking down. But the first of which, I'm just going to let Dustin do it, because I don't think my voice is going to let me. Dustin, what's the first top player in attendance?
The first one is Vic Vijay, first in the UK, currently bringing a Suriani, which is actually one we didn't talk too much about. The Suriani had a huge spike in this tournament, good huge showing. And it's Masterful Shots and Swift Strike. Do you know what Swift Strike is?
I got no idea. I'm looking up.
I have no idea. Chat, let us know if you know what Swift Strike is off the top of your head there. So it is an Outrider with Baharoth, 2x5 Howling Banshees, 10-10-6 Swooping Hawks. Swooping Hawks making a huge comeback in Vic's list. And 3x1 Vipers. And then a patrol with 2 Farseer Skyrunners, 3x1 Warlock Skyrunners, 5 Rangers, 10 Dire Avengers, 5 Striking Scorpions, and then 2x3 Shroud Runners. There's a lot of new stuff in here. And I mean a lot. I mean a lot of Swooping Hawks and then Shroud Runners, which we almost never see.
He's really turning the clock back in a couple of ways and trying to push the envelope in some others. It was a 3 and a single Warlock Skyrunner.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. It's a slash or an X. Whatever.
Yeah, I can't get all your abbreviations and code and everything. So
the big deal here is the freaking Swooping Hawks. Why would people go back to Swooping Hawks?
I know, but I don't want to say it.
High volume of shots, get through the demon saves.
Exactly right. Yeah. Paul comes back in with the gold. Freaking demons.
There it is.
20 demon players, and Vic has called it beforehand, being like, I need something to deal with demons, because demons are going to show up here. Pick the meta perfectly. Yeah, 26.
I'm just going to jump in, do a couple jabs, and then
come in with the hard hitting facts, and then I don't need to be here for everything.
Way less Dire Avengers, but still one decent unit. The 2 good melee units, as in it's got Howling Banshees, he's got Striking Scorpions, and then it's got a lot of periphery stuff. The Shroud Runners is the one I don't truly understand, but I'm hoping someone in the chat especially will be able to pick it for us.
They're snipers, right? Like, they're actually pretty strong snipers and fast snipers, so they can get to some of the characters that are showing up and giving the buffs around. Right?
Sorry, I missed that, mate.
Oh, it just I feel like they're just good snipers to be able to take off a lot of the characters giving the buffs around, because there's a lot of characters that are giving important buffs people want to turn off a lot of the time, especially in some of the demons too.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like Swift Strike makes you shoot better. It says Swift Strike, but I feel like it's a shooting buff, just off the top of my head. And I feel like it benefits scatter lasers, which I know Shroud Runners come with.
Okay.
The scatter lasers hit on 2s, of course. So it's more high strength, no rend. It's more volume shooting.
Okay, beautiful. That makes perfect sense. And that really fills out the list then. So he's going for pure volume. He's ready for this demon meta.
We got a question in the chat too, is about the Craft World Eldar and the White Dwarf. Is like, think folks are kind of ignoring those types of supplements.
I'm not even sure what he's referring to.
Yeah,
actually,
if there's something new that's come out, let us know. What's the ability there that people are missing?
Are we missing something?
But thanks for throwing a comment in the chat.
The only one I know is the Drukhari one. That's all the only one I know.
Yeah, there's a White Dwarf. There's a release for Eldar and White Dwarf. Amazing. Swift Strikes, for those wondering, in your shooting phase, each time a unit with this attribute is selected to shoot, unless it has fallen back until the end of the phase, it counts as having remained stationary. So those Shroud Runners always hit on 2s. They've got all heavy weapons, so they can just move and hit on 2s all the time.
That's nice.
Nice little piece of tech there. I'm now fully on board with that. That sounds sick.
Okay.
But yeah, that was Vic Vijay, current ranked number 1 in the UK. What's the next one, Dustin?
Next, we have David Gaylard, second in the UK with Chaos Demons. So we're going to see exactly what Vic was trying to build against. The Undivided, so a battalion with Bloodthirster, Changecaster, Transweaver, 2x10 Bloodletters, 2x10 Daemonettes, 3x6 Flamers. There it is. We expected it. And then a patrol with Bellicor and 10 Bloodletters. I actually like this spread of the demons. I think the Bellicor with the Bloodthirsters, the right amount of the big guys, because they're both just hard to kill. They'll do the damage you do.
It is okay
you have the
to
maximum
see,
of flamers
all the flamers. Yeah.
Not all the flamers, I mean, we just expect we see a demon list. It's going to have at least 15 flamers, right? That's just the assumption at this point.
Yeah, it is. They are easily the best thing in that book. In fact, I've heard so many demon players saying they can't nerf flamers because they've nerfed flamers. We don't have anything else. I feel like that's an overinflation. You do have other stuff. I love this list. The only thing I don't love about this list, I'm not as sold on Bellicor as a lot of other people are. I'd rather see more medium demons in there. I'd rather see fiends, possibly some other little bits and pieces. I hear some good things about some of the Slanesh chariots also, which I haven't seen elsewhere. But Bellicor's the only bit I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced he's worth it all the time. But as a
that slingshot. People are excited about that Locust and being able to basically slingshot the Bloodthirster into combat. Now, because people have talked about that, people know it's coming, and so it's difficult to get that move off. But you're going to get it off, and it's going to make a difference each and every time. And a comment quickly on the Flamers, I'm actually okay with some units just being really good. I don't see any reason why some units shouldn't be really good, and that is definitely one of those units that is probably on the top end, but incredibly really good.
Oh yeah, no, it's definitely it's. I'd say the best unit in their codex for sure. I wouldn't say it's broken. And that's a lot to say, I think, because most people think that it's a really broken unit. I don't think so. I think it's very strong. But if you look at the rest of the shooting in the Demons Codex, well, you're going to have trouble finding it because there's not much.
It's already there.
And it's close range too, right? So it takes, as good as they are, it does still take some finesse to use them well, I think.
I just want to see an internal rebalance of some points. I want to see Flamers go up and some other stuff come down. But that's pretty much it. I don't think it's that house of cards here that everyone else thinks it is. It's another very strong list though. He's got the troops perfect for me. Bloodletters and Daemonettes, everything you want.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a bit of a shame the other two don't get much of a look in, because I was kind of hyped on Horrors when they first got announced, but I haven't seen anybody make them make sense yet.
Because of the splits. Is that why you were super hyped on them?
And they don't do any damage. They just don't. Yeah. Armor, contempt, and cover, and they just don't do any damage. Whereas Daemonettes, they offer really good 4-up saves on both sides in melee and in range. They're actually really good holding backfields. You can't just go pick them up. And Bloodletters are threatening to just about everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'd agree with that too. Next up, we have Nassim.
Yeah.
Whoop. Sorry, you have something else to say?
No, say what's next. You're on
it. I'm on it. All right. Nassim Fouchain? Yep. Nailed it. Fuccini. Wow, I was way off. I nailed it. Okay. Fourth in
That is
the
not it.
UK with Tau Farsight Enclaves. With a patrol Cold Star Commander, 10 Kroot Firesight Marksman, 4 Kroot Hounds, 2 Riptides, and 2 Bombers. That's pretty standard there. And then a patrol with the Crisis Commander, 10 more Kroot, 5 Crisis Suits with 2 Shield Drones, and then 3 more Crisis Suits. So this is an interesting spread. They got the Riptides instead of the Hammerheads that you'll normally see with that. Still has the Bombers. I think they've pretty much made the mainstay of the Tau list nowadays. What do you guys think?
It's a very lean list. It's only got, 3 misc units? Like, it's only got 1 unit of Kroot Hounds, 2 units of Kroot to go and do your actions and put up banners and stuff. And as soon as you lose those, you start really getting stretched. It is interesting to have the Farsight Marksman. I've been wondering when I saw this list, I was trying to figure out why he put it in there. It's because he doesn't have Shadow Sun, and most Tau lists want to have 2 to 3 Warlord traits, because you want to have your Killy commanders, you want to have your buff commanders, and then you want to have your redeploy ability, which Shadow Sun usually brings to the table, but she's a lot of points. So I think he's tried to make this as lean as possible and put just as much hate in here as he can. 2 units of Crisis, 2 Riptides, 2 Sunsharks. That is a lot of oomph. In addition to 2 commanders, it's a really strong, really vicious.
What I kept hearing from Tau players just over the course of every tournament is that how do you beat the Tau list that you see is very oppressive. Depending on terrain, you can get just picked off all the time. They say, make me play with the stuff I don't want to play with. Make me play the game, try to score points with the stuff I'd prefer to not be scoring points with. Like, so if you take out the Kroot Hounds, you take out the Kroot, all the fire, anything that's not the Crisis Suits or the Riptides or the Sunsharks or whatever, although you got to take out the Sunsharks immediately. But the other stuff, if you take out all the things that aren't maybe what your mind tells you what your target priority should be, then you're going to have a much easier game later in the round, because they'll have to move and do things, and they're then playing a different game they would be if you were not taking away
exactly
all
right.
that
As soon as you make him have to use like a crisis unit to do an action, you're winning. You're you're getting so far ahead. It's a great point, Paul. Like, if you try and pull apart the little support pieces, you can really expose them. Because and one of the great things about Tau is how much harder is it to kill a single crisis suit than 20 Kroot? It is so much easier to kill 20 Kroot than 1 crisis suit, resource wise.
By a lot.
By a lot.
So of those 3 we went over, boys, there's another 5 of the top 10, in addition to one of the top 10 in America in attendance at this event. So essentially there's 9 of the top players in the world at a minimum attending this one. What do we think is going to take it?
You guys feeling?
That's a great question. I mean, really, with Chaos Space Marines being just so dominant, right now, and also in high attendance, I'm going to go with Chaos Space Marines.
Safe bet, yeah, for sure.
It's a very good bet. I'll go with Demons to get a podium. It's been I haven't seen them. Did they get a podium at Kansas, Paul?
No.
I don't think they did.
They might have been 3rd or 4th. They might have been. It could have been 4th.
Yeah, I think one of there was definitely a X and 1 Demons player, but I'm not sure if they got high enough scores. Yeah. But anyway, I'm going to go for Demons for a podium. I don't think they're going to win. I think there's too much shooting here, to be honest. Well, two of the players we just talked about, I didn't point it out, but Nassim's got a hell of a lot of burst cannons on his list, which is just demon hate incarnate. So I'm going to go with Demons to get a podium, but not to win.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. I am actually going to do something that Paul's going to love me for, but I am going to say Blood Angels.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. Just with everything I'm seeing here, I'm seeing a lot of high volume but low AP stuff, and Sanguinary Guard are good into that.
So, yeah, it's true, man. You're absolutely right. I mean, yeah, how does Victor kill 3 into Sangard before it eats him alive?
Rolls a lot of 6s with the Dire Avengers.
Or 1 unit of Dire Avengers to try and punch through. That's just not going to do it. Or just pray your Swooping Hawks, he rolls enough once.
Yeah.
There we go. I should look up Brent Simon, 3rd place cast Demons. I can't remember if he was 3rd or 4th, but they did.
Okay, yeah. They did podium. Okay.
Podium. Nice. I'm thinking about the same for Demons here. I'd be very happy if a Demon player get 3rd place here. What is the next event, boys? Or do you want to hit an ad?
Yeah, we go. Yeah, let's get a word from our sponsors, and then come on right back in with this. Get those hobby boxes. Get those mats. Get that terrain.
Oh, yeah.
Dustin's loving that terrain.
Yeah, whatever.
We
I
are
hope
back.
You guys enjoyed that ad.
Yeah, that was, that was something. Look, this is this is a show where sometimes things happen and sometimes they don't. That's about the best way to describe it. I don't know if y'all know this. We do this live. We do this show live every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern time ish. And sometimes when you're doing a live show, here we are. Thanks for your patience and hanging out with us. If you've not checked out the Frontline Gaming Network and everything they have to offer, please get over there to their website and see what they got. The mats, the terrain. Dustin, I think you actually recently got the terrain.
I did, and it actually looks amazing. It's very functional. It looks great, and yeah, it's on my table right now. I turned my camera off. I wasn't worried about breaking something, so you guys could see it.
Yeah, check out the tickets for the events coming up. Hobby boxes, a whole bunch of stuff happening over there. Next event we're going to talk about is team tournament. We got the TTT 2022 from Varberg, Sweden. We know they're just incredibly good players over there. Like it's a Shark Tank, as it were. So what are we going to see there?
We will be seeing 104 players and 26 teams of 4. So it's actually going to be smaller teams than used to. And the big thing is 5 rounds. It's only 1,500 points. I know. Oh, it's something different. So
it's that is novel. Look, this kind of reinforces the fact that, look, there is a standard, what we consider 2,000 points, match play and whatever. But, you have freedom to do whatever you want, as far as what your tournament format is.
One of the big reasons we brought this one to the fourth, so you guys can see, is this is one of those traditional, venerable, been around forever events. This event has been 1,500 points since before 1850 was even a thing in 6th and 7th edition. When was 1,500 the competitive standard? Was it
Fifth.
4th? Was it 5th? Neil Kerr, who I talked to about this event, who's in attendance, he's been going to this event for 11 years, and that's the 11 years he's been living in Sweden. It's been going for many years before that, and they've always been 1,500. Never changed. That's just what it is, and I freaking adore that. And we want to bring and highlight these venerable tradition, flagship nation events. I think it's amazing, like an Adepticon,
Yeah, absolutely. Remember, the meta doesn't shape you. You shape the meta, so you can do what you want. So the quick and dirty stats here. The Imperial, again, with teams of 4, 26 teams, we won't see any more than 26 of a single faction here represented, because I'm assuming they can't duplicate. 1,500 points. You know what? Anything's game at this point. You never know. But the Imperial, there is 9 Sisters of Battle, 3 Custodes, 4 Admech, 1 Astra Militarum, 1 Granite, and 4 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's 1 Dark Angel, 3 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarine, and 2 Salamanders. Not many Space Marines here. Chaos, there's 3 T-Suns, 6 Death Guards, 6 Demons, 7 Renegade Knights. Heretic Astartes, 1 Black Legion, 3 Emperor's Children, 1 World Eater, 1 Red Corsair, 3 Creations of Bile, 2 Word Bears, and an Iron Warrior. Xenos, there's 12 Necrons, 9
Red
Orcs,
Corsair.
2 Tau. Yeah, 1 Red Corsair. Yeah. Hive Mind, there's 8 Tyranids and a Gene Stealer cult. Eldar, there's 2 Drukhari, 4 Harlequins, 6 Suriani, and 1 Yunari, meaning the faction podium is Necrons and CSM again, topping it out at 12. Orcs and Sisters at 9. And then Tyranids in third with 8. Pretty good spread for the most part, I think, actually. Again, Imperium and Chaos completely mirrored. Space Marines, though. Oof. Only 7. 7.
Do we know it's like the breakdown of those? I guess we do. Yeah, the Blood Angels, Salamanders.
Yeah, 1 Dark Angel, 2 Blood Angels, Ultramarine, 2 Salamanders.
Yeah. I guess if you're going to say, that's a nice mix of what you would expect to see in this format.
Yeah, the 3 Blood Angels obviously makes sense.
Beautiful spread on the Heretic Astartes side. I think is that all of them? Is that just all of them? Except for Alpha Legion, essentially. Which all of them technically could be Alpha Legion anyway, so you get away with it.
And all of them probably have Abaddon anyway, so I mean, like, pretty much.
Yeah. But yeah, beautiful.
I heard Red Corsairs being like mentioned in the shadows this past weekend. Like, what do they do?
They charge innately, right?
They freaking advance and charge and have a really good secondary. Like a really good secondary. They have... Do they have OPSEC bikes? No, they don't have OPSEC bikes. But I think there's some way for them to give out OPSEC, if I remember right. And yeah, they're a beautiful disruption army when it comes to team tournaments. And if you need to get something that can just put pressure on... I actually played against Red Corsairs last weekend, and he had a unit of smashy black mace corn bikes, and he had a unit of super ultra durable Nurgle bikes. And the corn bikes were crap. They went in, killed like a medium unit, and I killed them. And the Nurgle bikes kept me in my deployment zone by themselves, tied up for almost till turn 3.
Even with the black mace on the corn bikes?
They went in, killed a unit of my bikes. I had 3 OBSEC bikes. There was a unit of 9 bikes. They went in, killed that one, and I just picked them up. Like they were
that black mace tech on bikes is what I've heard. Also, other players are taking advantage of.
Really,
it's really good. I don't think it's good on the 9 because I think it's just too big a footprint. Like someone will get a bomber and just go see him and kill him. But on a smaller unit where you can just use all the other models as ablative wounds to get that guy in, I like it a lot more.
I don't know what mark they were running on those bikes with, but I have seen that used before. So that's something Chaos Generals are kind of taking advantage of and dipping into. If anybody was curious.
So it is being discussed. That's interesting then.
Yeah, as for the faction spread, the Necrons and CSM, no brainers. It's 1,500 points. None of these are no brainers. The only one in there that is a bit of an aberrant is the Orcs, but we're seeing Orcs a little bit on the rise, haven't we, in the last couple of weeks? Yeah.
Yeah, they are actually on the rise too. I think they've been slept on for a while. Orcs are a lot better than exactly. They won SoCal. They're a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for, and it's also something that people underestimate when they see them on the table now. They'll see like, oh, how many buggies you have? None. Psh, whatever. You probably got. You can't do any damage to me.
That turn 1 WOG with given the invulnerable save, essentially that's what they're kind of banking on here is that they're doing a almost like a numbers check on the table, and this is we talk about the meta being an ecosystem. Where things start to kind of flow in and out in different quantities and so on and so forth. And I think that folks had really, like the Orcs weren't in a great place. And now with some of the things that other people are taking, the Orcs are becoming just inherently more powerful, especially as those generals have refined their list and kind of figured out, I'm going to burn some of my abilities just on being reaction, what it needs to win this game, not what I would necessarily want to do with it. Because if they're on the table for 1 extra turn, that's all the Orcs need sometimes, apparently.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Also, I think we all slept on it, but they're one of the biggest backhanded buffs out of the data slate. Their biggest predator, the faction they could not beat was Leviathan Tyranids. There was I talked to many an Orc player. They did not have a game into Nids, and there was nothing they could do to make that into a win. They could get it to like a yellow in like traditional traffic lights, but there's nothing they could do to make that a green. And by making that a yellow, they got worse at everything else that they did. They were worse into Armor Contempt. They were worse into all the other builds that they should be good into. I had Ben Jurek on my show last week, and he pretty much said verbatim, like, I could make myself better into Leviathan Nids, but then all of a sudden I wasn't good into Space Marines. I just lose to Space Marines. Cool. Terrible. So jumping into the top teams in attendance, one moment. I am gonna try and read these out, guys. I am very unwell. I am now the new host of the Destroyer Hive. I pushed Typhus off the throne this morning, but I don't want to make Dustin go through my jargon. So the first of the top teams in attendance.
I think it'd be funny. Go for it.
Way to go, Dustin.
Sorry, wait, what?
But I love some of the names of these teams. The first one is the Go-Go Harambe Rangers. Is it Harambe? Yeah. It's Necrons, Expansionists, and Eternal Conquerors. It's pretty standard. Necrons for the first is Silent King, Heavy MSU with 2 Doomsize. Then we have a Freeblade Lance of Imperial Knights, 10 smalls, just smalls. It's 1,500 points. 10 smalls in a Freeblade Lance, 5 of each, Armiger, 5 Helverunes, 5 Warglaves. Pretty sick, actually, at 1,500. GSC, Impassioned and Industrial Affinity build. 2 big melee bombs, 1 of Akos, 1 of Pure Strain Gene Stealers, and the 2 5-mans of Metamorphs, and then it's just a crap load of MSU around that into Rock Riders. And then a Red Corsairs, a bit of everything MSU build to round it out. What do we think, boys?
I mean, it's got GSC, so I think it's got a great spread.
Checks off that box.
Checks off that box right there. Necrons, perfect. Imperial Knights is great to have in there. I think this is actually one of the few times I'm going to say having only 1 Knight player in your team is actually okay because it's only 4 people.
Yeah, when it's 4.
Yeah, but look at all those Knights. That creates a problem for people.
It does.
It does.
This will be WTC, some level of WTC boards. It's in Sweden. It's Heartland WTC territory.
Yeah.
But when you got a 4-player event, that means there's only one light table. So if you take two knights, one of them's not copping it sweet. One of them's on the dense or the medium. So 1 is good in 4s. 2 is you better be a pairings genius to try and make that work. I don't mind this 5-pack. I feel like it's great where it's great. It's got a lot of MSU. I read out MSU a lot of the time in every bar, bar the Armagers, and they're MSU as much as they could be while still being knights. So they're just playing the spread the board game.
Yeah,
of not lose bad is essentially how I'm reading it.
Yeah, I think it's board control. Make sure that you keep the points close, even if you are going to lose. Like that's what MSU will generally do in the team events. Even if you do lose a game, you will usually be able to keep your points in it. Especially with GSC Necrons, they're just 2 armies at MSU that they'll score regardless of what they go up against.
Someone just asked in the chat what the Red Corsairs was. They had, I think it was five termies, a couple of units of possessed. It was actually just a bit of everything. A couple of units of bikes, a couple of units of possessed. I think it had a Rhino, some Chosen, some Raptors. It literally was a bit of everything.
That's just a CSM list, baby.
That's exactly right. They just had a battalion and they filled the battalion. And there it is.
Makes sense.
Get you 2 battle forces, paint them up, put the little X across the symbol on whatever it is.
That's right.
You're rocking and rolling.
This next list, this next 4-pack, I believe is close to the best 4-pack you can get in the game.
Ooh, okay.
So this is Axel Steel Cordoner. Probably not doing it right, but I'm giving my best shot. It's
because you're sick. That's why you would mispronounce anything. Don't worry about it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's got Emperor's Children, CSM, 4 small Noise Marine units, and then a max unit of Termies. That's pretty much the whole list. It's that and support. Farsight Enclave's Tau, 2 commanders, 3 into Crisis Suits, 1 of them being bodyguards, and then 2 bombers. It's the expansionist Necrons. This is the Australian WTC list of maximum scarabs with the big unit of destroyers. It's the same list, just the Silent King is in there. The Silent King and some tech pieces, and it's the same list. Freaking terrifying. And then a Harlequin Twilight build with 2 max units of troop and 4 small units of troop in boats. This is extremely powerful, this 4-man.
Yeah, this is a good format. I'm trying to think of any changes I'd make to it, but I mean, any changes I'd make are purely preference. I don't think there's anything that's objectively better than what they have in their 4-pack.
Yeah, you can make an argument for taking different ones of these out and adding in equivalents to them.
Exactly.
We're just throwing some Gene cults. Yeah, that's a.
Oh, that's what I was. Yeah, exactly. You throw some Gene cult. You can take pretty much any one of these, replace with Gene cult, and the team just gets better. But other than that,
well, I was going to say the Harlequin's Twilight build could be Blood Angels. It could be Kraken Nids doing something similar, but with different kind of tech around them, bring different. But for a fast, melee aggressive list, they've got Harlequins. For a weird, grindy, tradey list, they've got the Emperor's Children. For the Alpha Strike, go up first, get the light table. They've got the Farsight Enclaves, and then the catch-all, never going to get blown out, always going to put up like 90 points. They've got the Scarab Farm. It's really well put together.
I know it's difficult when we're only going over a couple of teams to pick a winner here, but
I went over just about all of them, and that's my pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is going to be probably a great event. I mean, there's no getting around that.
I'm going to go with the Harambe Rangers because they have the Genester cult. I think the only one that's at this event. Yeah, the only one. That's the one that's going to win. And all their teams with the MSU, like I said, they're going to be able to keep the games close enough that they just need that one game to really go their way, and then they can eke out those wins. And I think that's the way to go. I like it.
I'm going to pick the team that has the most sanguinary guard on it.
That's a good pick. That is a good pick. I'm sure there's only one that has at least one of them's going to have 30 for sure.
Yeah, there's no reason not to. You got to have at least 20, 24. 27, 28.
All right, 1,500 points, so maybe 27 then. Okay.
Yeah, 27. Yeah, it's good.
Okay. All right.
Sure. All right.
Just a single Vanguard, Dante, Max Sangard. Off we go.
There you go. That's the list. That's all you
Who
need.
Needs command? You get that one command point from Dante, and just get to work.
Baby.
So the next tournament we have is the Death of Glory team tournament from Toledo, Ohio. 80 players, 16 teams of 5-round event. Dustin, what are we going to see there? And also, thanks for everyone being active in the chat. Like I said, I haven't mentioned this enough this show, but we do this live. We have a great chat community, and they have basically been carrying it for us because of all of our tech and other issues we've had. So, chat, thank you. It's so great to see y'all hanging out and being so accommodating and welcoming to everyone else that is also in the chat during the live show. Sorry, I jumped in there, Dustin. What are we going to see?
No. We are going to see 10 more Sisters of Battle, 4 Custodes, 1 Astra Militarum, 1 Grey Knight, and 3 Imperial Knights. Space Marines, there's going to be 1 Dark Angel, 1 Space Wolf, 5 Blood Angels, 1 Ultramarine, and 1 Salamander. Chaos, there's 3 Chaos Space Marines, 3 T-Suns, 3 Death Guard, 4 Demons, and 2 Renegade Knights. Xenos, there's 7 Necrons, 3 Orcs, 10 Tau. Apparently all the Tau came here instead. 1 Votan. Hive Mind,
Tau Country.
6 Tyranids, the Tau Country, exactly. And then Eldari, there's 1 Drukhari, 6 Harlequins, and 5 Assyriani, meaning the faction podium is Sisters and Tau topping it off with 10, Necrons in second with 7, then Harlequins and Tyranids in third with 6. So no real surprise there. There's been a pretty big rise on Assyriani lately, though. What's going on with that? What's happening there? Is it just because of the demon surge and everybody's like bringing more guns?
They do get stratagems that help them against demons.
It's true.
And
they do.
I mean, the demons also have stratagems that helps them against them. So I don't know.
That is also true.
So there's a lot. I think it's three reasons for my mind. Firstly, the Leviathan change means that all their massed strength 6 shots just aren't going to waste into perma-transhuman.
That's true.
Feels a lot better. Secondly, they're actually quietly have always been good into Necrons because they actually have the perfect strengths for removing Scarabs and moving all their mid-tier strength toughness 5 bodies, but they didn't get a chance to because they never made it past the Leviathan NIDS, so there wasn't any point to bring them. Now they're also look at what is the most prominent build for Chaos Space Marines. The archetype is all melee. So you get to play keep away from CSM. You get to be decent into Necrons and Tyranids, which you weren't before, and now you also get to prey on demons. Let's go, boys. Let's bring out the knife ears. It's time to get all the shuriken cannons back.
All great points.
Those are all really good 100%. Points. So you're saying basically that Tyranid Leviathan build, like the warrior build alone, was keeping it down, keeping the strength 6 Eldari at bay.
Well, because that's all I got. Yeah. What else are you gonna take?
Well, it's true. No, well, they have some decent psychic, but I mean, you're right. The strength 6 spam is something that the Eldar have been known for since 7th.
They're
exclusive. I think you're dead on, though.
Yeah.
With that match into Tyranids, the match into Tyranids was miserable because you can't take a bunch of psychic secondaries because there's all kind of problems. You know, there's your weapons don't shoot, so you're going to see that build, and so you were, I mean, the best your weekend can possibly be. You know, outside of some great fortune. You see what I did there?
Wow, that was nice. That was nice.
It's 4-1.
Yeah,
Fortune's a psychic power that Eldar have, guys. So just to make sure that we got
everybody just bow down before the pun power. But yeah, like Tyranids was a horrible matchup. Like you said, Paul, they couldn't rely on anything coming out of their psychic tree, their psychic powers, because they can all just be denied with supreme authority. You can't shoot them dead because they're Tyranids, and you're not trading into anything. What do you have as a Eldari player that goes into even 5 Tyranid warriors, kills them?
30 swooping hawks.
Yeah,
I meant in melee. Like, you know, what goes in and trades on an objective versus 5 warriors, let alone the freaking 999s we were seeing in some lists. So definitely getting more healthy for the Eldari, which is good because it was that there was nothing there to like. They had some middling results out of Drukhari and Assyriani, but Harlequins was the only sub-faction that was really popping off, and everyone else was kind of finding different Ynnari tech to try and get somewhere with that. But now
I think they're still trying to find some like Ynnari tech. I've seen the odd Ynnari list here and there. They're not on the rise, even though more people are trying it. It's sort of like some people are trying it, others are like, nah, I'm done, and then just keep going back and forth.
It's a right player, right time, right meta. Perfectly, Ynnari can do anything, but you got to hit it all.
The doors are open, and that's what we're highlighting and showing from the stats here. Is that players have figured out that this is a great time to get experimental, and so if there's a faction that you like or want to play, this is a great time to get out there because I'm going to use the B word. There's a lot of balance happening right now. So it's one of those things to where there are some great lists and some very dominant things, but at the same time, there's also a lot of wiggle room for good players to sneak in there and do some damage. You know, and that some of these things are because fewer other players some of them are the same players that were coming to events the week before or the 2 weeks before or whatever. And so they've chosen to take different lists, which means there's different variables here, and the variables are all coming out to one conclusion, is that we see a wider variety of what people are actually taking to tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The codexes are a lot deeper than we thought. You look at Harlequins, probably the lowest amount of data sheets in any codex in the game right now.
Correct.
And they just went through 3 different iterations of that whole list in 3 months, 4 months, something like that.
Yep.
They went from dark to light to twilight. And there's still some people that are trying out dark again. Still some people playing light. Like they don't have that many data sheets, and still there's this many variations to the list. Like that's the lowest data sheet codex, and it's still that varied.
Literally, I didn't mention it at Coventry, but the best Harlequins player in the UK, I think it's Mr. Mark Porter. Please forgive me if I've got that wrong. But he's just taken the same damn light list he took last week. He's just like, it's still fine.
Exactly.
Let's go.
It's fine.
I'm really interested to see how he does with it. Literally, I don't know if he's changed a point from what he's been previously running. But jumping down to some of the top teams in attendance, and this first team is called Death and Glory. It's absolutely freaking stacked. This has got Ogden, Chester, TJ on it. This is probably gonna win, obviously.
Probably. So it's got a pretty good chance.
So you expect this to be really good. It starts off with a Bloody Rose Brigade.
And they already won.
Yeah. Well, they're already ballers, aren't they? Anybody takes a brigade, you're just a baller. But the only difference here is that he has a unit of Dominions in it and 3 small 5 sister Retributor units. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as usual. I do like the addition here, though. Having the threat of the Dominions turn 1 in addition to the Henshaw or one or the other, I think adds a little bit of spice, because the Dominions can be packing Retributors as well. Then we have a Scarab Farm Necrons list, a T-Suns and Demons Duplicity list with 20 Scarab Occult Terminators, and then a 3, a 4, and a 5 Flamer units. So a unit of 3, unit of 4, and a unit of 5 for a total of, what is that? Total of 12. So that is less than the market.
There's too few.
It's less than the market average of 15 boys, but there's still quite a few. We've got a Twilight Harlequins build with 3 big, 5 small troops in 5 boats. I had to look at this twice because I was like, you can fit that? You can fit 3 big and 5 small in 5 boats? That's really, really good. It's a lot. And then we have a Tau Sept list with 2 big Crisis units, a single Riptide, and 2 Bombers.
Seems right. A bit of hybrid of what we're seeing out there right now. Most of the Crisis suit lists don't pack a Riptide, and most of the Riptide lists don't have much Crisis suits.
Yeah, we're starting to see Riptides replace the Hammerheads that were kind of in those lists now, I think.
Yep. Usually, it's last month that would have been Long Strike, 2 Crisis, and 2 Bombers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think it's because people have realized the single Hammerhead in a lot of games is just a bit of a win more, especially when you're playing Tau into Knights. The Hammerhead isn't the thing that's winning you that game. You're just gonna Crisis bully the ever living crap out of them.
We can actually speak to personal experience because we had one of our team tournaments we went to not too long ago. We actually had our Tau go into Chaos Knight matchup because it was perfect. Oh, he had 4 Hammerheads. He had Long Strike and 3 Hammerheads. Perfect, right? The Hammerheads whiffed every single turn. And it's just did not go well for the Tau. So you never know because it's still swingy sometimes, right? Obviously,
I think they got it on lock. And then,
ideally, you want to be that's the matchup you want, but sometimes I don't know. I feel like the Hammerheads can be swingy sometimes. Riptides are just more durable. They're safer, I think.
Yeah, the Riptide is the non-interactive piece that you can just bide a little bit more time and just pace the game out a little bit better with the Riptide than a Hammerhead. But I'm still not convinced on any of them. I think we're now into a beautiful bit of the Tau internal balance where you just have a bit of a sliding scale. How many Crisis to Riptide to Bombers to Commanders to Hammerheads? There's just so many good options now, I think.
Yeah.
And I don't truly believe in teams that's a wrong one. It's just which is fit for purpose in the rest of the squad. But yeah, exceptionally good for 5-pack here. The next one.
Then we got a bit of a list here, a bucket of teams, which seems pretty interesting. So. I always like to try and get the team which I think is the strongest or best represents them better, and we did that in both the previous Death and Glory and the previous teams event. This is just because I loved these lists and it's a lot of fun. This is Downriver Rats, fantastic name. Custodes,
3x3 Virtus Praetors and 3 Caladius Grav Tanks. No joke of a list. Then he's got Goth Orcs with Gaz and Makari, 2 kill reads, 20 commandos. Pretty similar to what Ben Jurek won SoCal with. A couple of about 300 points difference, really. And then everyone sit down for this one. Salamanders, Adeptus Astartes. Vulcan, 2 units of freaking Stern Guard in a Rhino. He's got 2 units of Aggressors, 2 units of
Rhino meta. It's finally here.
Holy shit. Every one of these Stern Guard have a Combi Melter and a Multi-Melter in each 2/5 man. And I'm like, with Vulcan, it's actually not crap. Like, I had to look at it twice. I'm like, Vulcan gives him 4 rerolls, doesn't he? I looked it up. I'm like, holy crap, you've made Stern Guard actually not look horrifically terrible. Well done, sir. Congratulations. You've done, that's a first for 2022. Rest of the 5-pack is a Ward Maker's Grey Knights list, which has 30 Interceptors and 3 Dread Knights, which I actually don't hate Dread Knights at the moment. I think they might be having a little bit of a resurgence. And then another Tower Sept.
Let me jump in on the Dread Knights for a second. A mixed Imperium army made it to the top 16 in Kansas last weekend.
Was that
Grey Knights and Astra Militarum?
Ah, cool.
That was actually still a good combo for a while, I think. Well, we'll see actually when the new Guard Codex comes out.
Dread Knights, Leman Russes, and Manticores, right, pretty good, So.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You mentioned Dread Knights being could be a real thing. I think they are.
Yeah, I absolutely do. I think they're good they're on a little bit of a comeback as well. Last one of the 5-pack is a Tasset build with 3 units of Crisis Suits, 1 Hammerhead and 2 Bombers. So exactly like we were joking about in the previous one. It's exactly the sliding scales we were trolling about. But yeah, that 5-pack, while I don't think it's as strong as the previous one, still has some pretty cool builds. And my god, as soon as I saw the Stern Guard, I was in love. I was like, well done, gentlemen.
You have to mention that one for sure. That's respect for that for sure. I'm down with this one. What would you guys think you're going to win this one though? Because Stern Guard.
Obviously,
yeah, right?
Stern Guard,
right? You probably hit it on the head. The team we mentioned first is going to be very tough to beat.
I don't know, man. Only 11 Flamers in that T-Suns list.
That's right.
I don't know, man.
Even trying. Hardly
You're not even trying, man.
Yeah. Okay. So look, that is the end of. Well, I should say it's not the end of our show. That's almost the end of our show. Here at the last part of this show, we have a segment we call the Fuego Rapido. This is a palate cleanser. This has oftentimes very little to do with Warhammer 40,000. We don't know the topics until we see them. This is also when we invite production on to kind of shepherd us through this journey. We put up a list of topics on the screen, and we get 2 minutes to comment on them. Once the clock starts, we rapid fire away. Once the clock is hit 0, we abandon the topic, never to return to it again.
Huh. Yes. Hello. How are you guys?
Hi.
We did it. We made it through the show.
Don't count us out yet because we still have the Fuego.
You know what, though? I'm going to tell you right now. This Fuego is a baller. So this thing's gonna.
Don't do that. You can't set up a Fuego like that.
Yeah.
Because now we have
Look at Adam.
Huge
Adam's reading them right now, and he's in love. I can tell you right now.
Yep. He's not reading. He can't read right now. He's he sees 4 screens in front of him.
I was reading some guy named Alex. I'm going to mispronounce his name just to troll him.
Yeah.
Shivilla? Or whatever.
See, I told you couldn't.
He's having a go at me for speaking too loud. He tried to listen to me at 1.5 speed. That was your first mistake.
Yeah, that's like...
Oh, that's not
like 5 speed. Anyway, let's get going. What guard tank would you want to drive? I feel like this is really easy, actually.
Oh, I'd go a Hellhammer.
Really? Hellhammer, that's a good one. Yeah, okay. I'm looking at it's got to be the Stormlord.
Oh yeah, because you got 40-year mates in the back.
Yeah, 39 buddies in the tank with me. Yeah, just and a gun that just don't stop.
I just drive a Salamander command tank.
Yeah, just tell everyone else to drive harder. You drive harder.
Drive harder. Drive harder. Shoot better. You. The guy's there. Why are you shooting over there for? What's wrong with you?
So I'm sad no one said the new tank, the Dorn.
The Rogel Dorn?
I haven't seen
it. Since we have a minute, what's your opinion on it?
It's no.
Oh, I think it looks awesome.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
I can't wait to build 3 of them. Okay. I sincerely hope that the weapons are easy to kind of swap out. And a lot of the new kits they actually are, so I would imagine that they probably are. But as far as the tank goes, I think I don't know why they've opted to put like a place to stand on the outside of it for the.
Yeah, because they're guard.
He's just a guy.
But
like,
I bet that guy's feeling like king of the world. So more power to him.
Yeah. You got to let all the other crews know who the new guy is, right?
Oh, right. He's got to. Everybody needs to paint that guy with a red shirt.
Yeah, he's got a red shirt on.
He has to have the
red shirt. That's fantastic.
But who doesn't like guard tanks? That's what's up.
Beat me up, quick!
I think we solved that one. So, what are the Loyal 32 up to right now,
mate? So I have over 200 painted guardsmen, and during 8th edition I lent out over 100 guardsmen worth of Loyal 32s, and I did not get them all back. I have Loyal 32s scattered amongst the wastelands of Australia, just foraging for themselves, surviving off the land.
I already told you the Loyal 32 were like hanging out with me and my Stormlord, and we're just cruising around. That's what we're doing the weekends. That's what we're doing this Friday. Hanging out, going up to the quick.
You guys ain't gonna like
every time Canadians on a buy, swap, and sell, I freaking click on that picture and they're like, "Are those mine? You son of a!"
Passed around. No, they're not loyal anymore, man. They're part of the insurrection now. They work for me. I don't know how to tell you guys that. They're over there carrying seismic cannons now. All of them, all 32 of them.
You're the only one that knows what a seismic cannon looks like.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Does anyone want to explain what the Loyal 32 was real quickly?
Oh.
Maybe people don't know.
So Loyal 32, back in the Allies stage of the game, you could take a guard detachment that was typically composed totally of 32 models.
Yeah, so it used to be in the old system, you had to get more detachments to get more command points. So the more detachments you filled out, the more command points you started the game with. And so the cheapest way for an Imperium player to fill out a battalion was to take 32 guardsmen, 2 commanders, 3 units of 10 infantry. And that would get you a bunch of extra command points to start the game with. So everyone who was playing Space Marines would just bring their Loyal 32 to fuel their Space Marine command point system.
Yeah, yes. And some of them would start bringing like mortars in there sometimes too. But Loyal 32 was the common. Just get your 5 command points.
There you go. There's a history lesson from the Thursday show. All right,
give you everything here.
What's the best guard color scheme? End of discussion. Drop the hammer.
You got to start with Caliban green.
Caliban green, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I like where this is going.
And that's where it all starts. Then then dry brush a little bit with the what is it, the Strachan green? There's a lighter color green.
There's a Lauren Forest one that I use.
It's too green. It's too green. There's a green in between there.
Yeah.
And then that's your base green.
Stegodon?
And then no, Stegodon is more bluish.
I like that one. Cyberite's kind of that's lighter.
Super bright.
Cabalite.
Cabalite green?
Yeah, that's darker.
That's one. Well, anyway, look. You said what's the best? We're not talking about the best.
What's the best?
The best
color scheme
is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then with camo, it's pretty camo is easier than you think, especially like on fatigues and like their actual like pants and stuff, because you just paint. You paint something like just a white color scheme or like a super light green for their top parts. And so you can get away with just doing camo on the BDUs or whatever they are, and you do it with like a darker brown, and then just a little like a dot of darker brown, and then a dot of slightly lighter brown on top of it, and there you go. You could also do it like a little black, and then do the blacks.
Bare arms.
I'm sorry, the browns on top of
Completely
that.
bare arms, right, Paul?
Completely bare arms.
Yeah.
Yes.
You gotta show them muscles.
Yep.
Guns out.
Look, that's why you load the guns faster. That's why.
I will say on their actual miniatures, I find it very hard to go past the Vestroyan color scheme. On the Vestroyan miniatures, it is beautiful.
Okay. I don't have enough time to go through my actual paint scheme, but basically the best guard paint scheme is Rusted Claw.
Oh, every time.
Hey, if you're talking about guard, I play guard. I play guard.
Yeah.
Come on.
So this is an actual question. Why are guard a good balance to the meta?
I'm actually a little concerned about what Guard's going to do to this meta when they come out, if they are strong, if they are very strong, because then we will have 3 extremely powerful shooting armies in the meta, that being Votan, Tau, and Guard, and we have a pretty good balance between shooting and fighty at the moment, and I like it where it is. I don't want the scales to be tipped too far, and that is as a Guard player. And I adore my Guard. I will be playing that book and enjoying that book. They're a good balance for the meta because they're usually a big check and a balance to, well, in 8th edition, they were a huge check and balance to anything Chaos related. And Chaos, I don't know if you paid attention to the rest of the show, Chaos is out in force.
Katie needs some vengeance.
Oh, don't we? Don't we just?
Why are the Guard a good balance for the meta? I think we'll see. But good shooting and some good indirect fire and that kind of stuff may create, some interesting unit choices for opponents.
Yeah, I think historically Guard are good for the meta because they're one of the really good horde armies, generally speaking, and their out of line of sight shooting is what kind of keeps some of the MSU builds that are hiding behind a lot of terrain in check. So if they go back to like the really good out of line of sight shooting that they had like in the meta in the past, then a lot of these, like the Twilight build for Harlequins, that might actually be a lot harder to pull off, things like that. Orcs might get hurt again if they're doing MSU stuff. So those are the kind of checks and balances that they come into. The problem is that if they come in and break all the not like the ones that are already struggling, then it just feels bad, right? If they take out like new nids like the Quints and stuff, then that's okay, but that's their general.
Getting another strong list in the meta or strong codex in the meta, if they are strong, is going to be awesome because it just gives more options. And I agree with that. And what he said it was like, well, we're out of time. Can't tell you why I agree with it.
Yep. No.
Oh, can't tell you what. We'll never know. We'll never know.
Never mind.
So this is back to the good questions. Why doesn't FLG sell sleeveless event shirts?
That's a damn good point, right?
Yeah.
Hey, why? Why do you think that is?
Because they don't respect Australians, obviously.
Clearly. Yeah, must be some Australian hatred.
I'd have the whole range if they did shirtless. Sorry, sleeveless.
We should, and then off, corresponding headbands.
Oh,
yeah, headband could be good.
Mm-hmm.
Bandana.
See, for me,
these are all things that I've seen the FLG crew wear. So I don't know why it's not in the ring.
True. Yeah,
it's on the whiteboard.
It's on the whiteboard. I think we solved that. Believe it or not. Right.
What we need, what we need? Some Fuego Rapido merch.
We do.
Yeah.
Fuego.
All right, this is the last question. I think it's actually the best, which is why I put it on the bottom here. What would you rather be a trooper in? The Predator, the Aliens, or Starship Troopers?
Ooh, that's fantastic.
That right?
That's you mean just like a? Would you rather be a grunt in which franchise?
What's the trooper?
Yeah. I thought you meant in the movie because like a higher percentage of the folks in Alien got out.
I feel like it's the universe. It's the universe. So what would you rather be a trooper in these?
Then definitely Predator because you're very unlikely to see any of those. Very likely to see all the other things.
I mean, did you see Clendathu? It was a bloodbath.
It wasn't good. It wasn't good.
It was a bug
trap.
planet.
It was a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap.
Predator like a meteor at Buenos Aires or whatever. Like, come on,
So you're not looking for action by being in the Predator, is what you're saying?
No.
Also, this is what I'm saying. Yes,
you're more likely to survive the Predator franchise, I believe.
I will be bored, but I will be alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're dead, you wouldn't know you're bored.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's true. I mean, and like, so there's a different reaction thing as well. I could pretend to not be a soldier if the Predator rocks up and just throw my guns down and be like, "Ha, harmless, leave me alone." not gonna work so well on the bugs or the aliens, like
Right. All right. Guess.
I think I'd want to be in the Predator one because I'd be able to take the Predator on.
Get out of here! Take the Predator on.
I could take him better than I could take an alien or a million aliens. So, so tell me I'm wrong there.
I can't.
I mean, a single alien? I don't know.
I just cover myself in mud against them and stuff.
And
we have a handbook.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got basically a textbook on how to fight these things at this point.
Yeah. And Tanya, yes, you can have bionics in Starship Troopers. That's a
see.
Yeah, sorry, guys. And it's Fuego. You can't change your answer.
Well, you can't do that to us. That's not fair. Tanya, you ruined it.
Hey, well, that is our show. Look, this show has been a little bit fraught with peril, so I really appreciate everyone hanging in with us. This is always exciting. We get to talk about the meta. We describe it while y'all are out there being it. A little bit of FOMO happening, but I love doing it. And it's not kidding. Like we've watched this progress this entire year and a half, basically at this point, and just how healthy things are out there, how conducive it is to getting out there and playing if that is something that you want to do. I feel like in any other time in the last several years that you can really focus on the faction that you think is the would be the most fun for you. So that's, and again, it's fun to talk about. That is our show. Thanks everybody in the chat. Adam, Dustin, thank you. Richard in the background, thank you very much. Leave some 5-star reviews if you haven't already. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave some comments, because when you do these like free things, that helps other people come and notice or whatever, with the algorithm start to kind of click off, and they can come back and join us and watch our normal show. So, maybe live or listen after the fact. It's always exciting. Thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see y'all next week.
See you guys.
Get to the chopper.